Hello Summoners and welcome back to another episode of our community coaching series here at ProGuides. This time we're going to be looking closely at a game from the perspective of mid lane. Thanks for your feedback last time, and remember to leave a like and any other feedback you guys have in the comments down below. Also, a reminder that we want to work with you, so remember to send in your replays for a chance to be featured in our next video. Anyway, let's get started. So in this game we're going to be analyzing gameplay from the perspective of Zed against an Ahri. First, let's break down the matchup. Both Zed and Ahri are assassin-type champions. Their goal is to look for opportunities in lane to take favorable trades to outplay their opponent, and then they're looking to chunk opponents to either set up some solo kills or take lane priority to apply pressure to side lanes and look to roam. As Zed, we want to just farm safely up until level 3, looking to last hit with our Q from range, and then hitting Ahri simultaneously with it if she mispositions, which would be great. After level 3, we can start to contest some pushes. Naturally, Ahri will have better wave clear, but over time it will cost mana, and it's using her main damaging ability to push the waves, which gives us better windows to fight her. We want to be looking to trade and poke out Ahri, so that way we can look for either solo kills when we chunk her out, or force her to concede lane priority to set up a kill at level 6. Later on into the game, we want to be side laning with the lead that we built up early game, and trying to force someone who is weaker than us to match us, or take turrets for free because no one else can come down to match us. As Ahri, we have much better wave clear, so our goal is to try to neutralize Zed's pressure. We want to poke him out as much as we can so that we can either safely farm or pressure him so he can't build leads. When he's too low, we can force him to play conservatively or look to outplay him by charming out of his ult and all-inning him. By preventing him from gaining leads, we eventually get enough items that we can look to outperform him in teamfights. Additionally, our strong wave clear will help us shove lanes quickly, then look to group with our team to make picks. One of the most important things we will be going over this game is the importance of pushing a wave. Essentially, almost all of your matchups against opponents will be impacted by the minion wave. Now, whether that impact is small or heavy will of course vary depending on the champions fighting each other, as well as the jungle matchup and jungle pressure. However, pushing waves will begin to have more of an impact later on as it begins to open up opportunities later on in the game. While there's nothing essentially wrong with letting Ahri shove the wave early, there's an issue when she can use her mana to shove the wave while simultaneously getting damage off on you. Here, we stand in the minion wave and trade damage with Ahri. In this case, it's okay because the trade goes close to even, and we can't contest or push very well since we are the melee champion anyway. You could make the argument that baiting Ahri to push in is a better way for us to hit our level 3, which is exactly what we need. We're going to generate health no matter what if the damage is minor, and we want Ahri to shove the lane into the turret anyway, so that it can bounce back and be in a better spot for us to look for a level 3 all-in. Letting her slowly push the wave would be bad because we'll have to catch the big minion wave under turret later on to catch up, and she'll have a bigger window to move somewhere else, or poke us under the turret while we have to farm. However, in most other cases, the standing in the wave like this isn't optimal, and we'll talk about this again soon. Ahri does manage to land some good poke, which is pretty bad for us. We tried to farm this range minion with our Q, which is not a bad play, but there are a lot of fundamental issues over how we execute it. Pay close attention to where we're standing when we throw this Q. How many directions are there to move? There's only 3. Forward, backwards, and to the right. Since Ahri's abilities are linear skill shots, meaning they'll cover all the distance in a straight line, as opposed to covering a single point like Karthus Q or Urgot Q, running forwards or backwards in most scenarios will not let you dodge her abilities. We are standing right next to our turret, so the number of options for us to move are limited, and this is why this is a big window for opponents to trade with us and harass. Farming adjacent to our turret was a mistake here, but we also didn't throw our Q from max range. If Ahri wanted to go for poke, she would have had to take a tower shot if we stood just a little further away. Ultimately, what happens? Well, this leaves us chunked, having to use a potion, and being unable to step up to the wave while we're healing. If we had not taken this much damage, we could have been walking up to the wave to potentially auto-attack it. If not, we could be trying to bait out Ahri's Q since we're healthier and have less to lose. By baiting and dodging her Q here, we can then contest the push because we can safely auto-attack the wave. If she does choose to auto-attack us while her Q is on cooldown and the wave is big for us, we can trade back with Q and she'll have minions chasing her, so she'll have to back off. We can then move back to pull her further into the minion wave if she wants to keep auto-attacking, or continue to auto-attack the wave if she backs off. While this is the best case scenario, we've lost the option to even try because of the damage we took earlier. Let's go back to talking about standing with or in a line with your wave. This isn't always a bad thing, but the issue is that when this becomes a recurring habit that your opponents recognize, especially since abilities start doing more damage as we gain levels. Look here how Ahri is able to Q the wave and also hit us. By level 3, we finally have access to all of our primary abilities, so we can start contesting pushes by trading damage onto Ahri. If she wants to continue pushing, she needs to Q the wave or try to auto-attack to push. In either of these situations, we can look to trade by poking with a W into Q or W plus EQ. Since we are an energy-based champion, we want to be looking to trade anytime our energy is high or when we have good opportunities with our cooldowns ready. This is because energy regenerates a lot faster than mana, and it's more of a balancing tool to make sure that manaless champions can't spam skills wastefully in a short window of time. Aside from this, you are essentially using your abilities for free, while champions with mana have to be careful with each trade. We end up letting her get too much value from her Q here, so she can push in the wave and poke us for free, making it harder to play around our own goal of chunking her out so that we can apply pressure ourselves. In our last episode, we talked about how enemies have the option of trying to push the wave at the cost of damage. When our opponents do this, we need to be in positions that way we can trade that damage back onto them. Essentially, these are the situations where our opponents choose to open themselves up to push the wave, but we were not able to even get out our portion of that exchange because we made previous mistakes preventing us from doing so. Even if we did trade back the damage here, they've pushed and traded when they should have only been able to ideally push, but then taken damage themselves. There's also a world where Ahri doesn't use her abilities at all and just continues to push the wave with autos. In these scenarios, we could look to poke her while she's trying to last hit the minions. By slowly chipping at her health bar, we are setting up plays for ourselves later. We've been talking a lot about our possibilities and other options here. It's crazy, isn't it? It all came from a simple thing like just not knowing where to stand and not knowing how you're supposed to execute little micro things. We walk up to try to help our Lee Sin who was fighting Udyr over Scuttlecrab. Look at how close we get to Ahri. During any of this fight, she could have turned on us and started auto-attacking. Also, if Udyr wasn't so tunneled on Lee Sin, he could have recognized here that Lee Sin is going to get away because he can ward hop and that we are too far up and Ahri can charm. However, we actually end up getting the best possible outcome because our opponents cannot recognize this themselves. We used our shadow to trade, which honestly should be a death sentence, and Udyr recognizes this, flashing onto us. Ahri wasted her charm by trying to tag Lee Sin, when she should have just held it because there's no way she would land it without flashing for Lee Sin, and we would be charmed out of Udyr's stun anyway. We end up capitalizing on this situation, jumping back to our shadow and essentially trading a portion or two for Udyr's flash. Good result, but like we talked about in another video, if we really want to improve, we can't always look at the results. We have to analyze things objectively and recognize our mistakes. What we should have done here is either sit at the wave and just farm it, or poked Ahri while she walked up to help Udyr and continued to let the minion wave push into our turret. Look how we position here. Again, we're giving Ahri an opportunity to hit the wave and us at the same time if she wants to throw Q. She doesn't look for it, and we're also holding our shadow which has just come up, which is really good for this situation. Where the wave is at right now, we're in the first situation where our minion wave has an advantage because it will build and we will also have all of our abilities ready. This is our prime window and we execute perfectly on it. Landing a perfect W plus E plus Q combo on Ahri, we chunk her and force her to use all of her mana to shove the wave out so she can reset. On her reset, we play properly and push the wave in, taking our own and making her miss her minions. Ideally, Ahri would have wanted to reset when the next wave is a cannon minion, since it's a lot harder for us to push that one in, but our trade earlier and the fact that our W is coming back up soon forces her to have to make a sub-optimal decision. While we again position in the wave here, this was a time where it was a good play. This isn't solely because of the fact that we dodge Ahri's Q, but it's more about what goes into this play. It's pretty clear from these movements that our intent here was indeed to bait out Ahri's Q to push the wave. This, like what we talked about earlier, will open up windows when her strongest ability is on cooldown for us to trade some damage back. Naturally, Ahri can clear the wave better than us, and what we want to do is deal damage to her so we can get lane control as a result of her being too low. In the previous situations, we were already chunked. Ahri could have easily been looking to last hit with her abilities, and we didn't have reasonable windows to fight back. In this one, baiting her to use Q means she'll have to walk up again to last hit the minions or waste mana using another Q, meaning we will have windows to trade damage or just win out because she's using mana as a resource while we don't have to. We end up trying to farm when her Q is back up and getting hit by it. This isn't a big issue because Ahri did not buy potions, while we bought a refillable potion. At the end of the day, we took a chunk to get some farm. While not optimal, it is debatably fine here because we'll gain the health back by using our potion. In a situation where Ahri had potions, we definitely should have let her push in the wave, since we would only miss one minion or two letting her finish shoving it in all the way. From our really good trade a few minutes ago, we forced Ahri to base and miss minions. This means we had a level 6 power spike advantage over our opponent, especially in volatile matchups like this one where getting one kill can swing all of the control in one way. It looks like we recognized this, but didn't execute on it very well. We are only 1 minion away from level 6, so we start preparing for a level 6 all-in by hitting the melee minion. Then, we start our trade at level 5, trying to hit 6 mid-trade and all-in, but it's not very fluid. One way we could have tried to execute this better would be to hit this melee minion a little bit lower, and then positioning ourselves that way we can press W, E simultaneously to last hit that minion and Ahri at the same time, making our execution much more smooth and giving us level 6 during that transition. 30 seconds later, we still managed to find the kill on Ahri, but this is due to a series of mistakes by her, and she had much more opportunity to survive since she is now 6, while earlier it would have been a guaranteed flash at the least. Further into the game, we do make some mechanical mistakes, but these aren't the end of the world. At 9:17, we take advantage of the fact that Ahri used her flash to kill our jungler earlier, but then we get caught out by the enemy team. Again, it's not that big of a deal, and it's important that players don't get caught up so much on mechanical errors. They are naturally something we improve on with practice and a little bit of focus, but the bigger picture things are much more important than missing a skill shot. We are stronger than Ahri here, so we've done a good job establishing a push on the wave. This lets us have better windows to trade and have the opportunity to start pressuring side lanes, but we make a crucial error here. We see the Udyr path past our control ward in the bottom side river and think that he's doing dragon. We leave our lane to go ward the dragon. After all, giving up a couple of minions to help our team is worth it. Right mindset, but look at what happens. Although we had the initial push on the mid lane, Ahri immediately clears the wave afterwards, so we end up missing some minions mid, which is actually the least of our concerns. Even if Udyr starts dragon, we need to consider where the rest of our team is. Our bot lane is pushed under turrets, so the enemy bot lane will have priority, and our jungler is in the top side. As a result, we have to accept that in situations like this, there isn't much more that we can do here. This is just a window where the enemy team can make a play, and we do not have to give them anything more for free. Running into contest by yourself in this situation would just have too little of a chance for success, and instead you're more likely to die or just lose a lot of farm, waste some time, etc. Instead, we would have better spent our time trying to continue to pressure mid, that way we can create a window for ourselves to have pressure in 30 seconds to a minute from now on. But what if Udyr ran straight bottom lane after we first saw him? In this situation, we would have to recognize how likely this is to happen, and also if it's the best for us to block his attempt. Our bot lane is already pushed to their turret, so if the dive happens, it'll have to be a turret dive. If we follow through, we're going to end up in one of two situations. Either we would have to clean up the dive where our bot lane has already probably died because Twitch is low and the enemy bot lane is healthy, or we meet Udyr at Tribush and then get collapsed on by the enemy bot lane and die ourselves. In either situation, Ahri will have pushed the minion wave into our turret, already making this a bad play for us because we miss minions. After this, she can choose to either hit our turret for plating, or she can follow us since she doesn't have any minions to lose. In the end, we end up spending a lot of time in the jungle just waiting, while Ahri has pushed a wave under our turret and can now safely move into the river to help Udyr. We do try to make a hero play, which actually goes quite close, but ends with us dying with Twitch. This came to be really close because the enemy bot lane rotated late, but realistically this wasn't a play with a high chance of success to begin with. If instead we had managed to get lane priority in the mid lane, we could have walked into the jungle after pushing our lane in and walking to contest Udyr soloing the dragon, while Ahri will be late because she has to catch some minions under turret or give up minions to follow us, which is a win-win in some ways. The end result of this is that Ahri ends up getting ahead of us, picking up kills to equalize the scoreboard, taking turret plays, and also farming waves that we are dead for. With this, we lose a lot of the pressure because we need to be a threat in both side lanes and team fighting. Overall, we executed well on concepts like effective trading and taking advantage of opportunities to kill our opponent. However, there were some simple mistakes with big repercussions. We had poor positioning, allowing our opponent to get too much value out of their ability usage. We positioned poorly to help our teammates, and we didn't put enough value on lane priority to push our lane, making risky plays to contest objectives with a very low chance of success. By fixing these issues, we can open up more opportunities for us to be proactive in our own plays and snowball our leads. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more of our content here at ProGuides.